Welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, December 10th, 2018. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. There is a host of provisions designed to assist the traditional growers of marijuana to succeed in the proposed medicinal marijuana industry for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That's the position put forward today in Parliament by Minister of Agriculture Saboto Caesar during his presentation on the medical cannabis industry bill, which lays out the legislative framework for the creation of an industry for patient care and scientific research. Minister Caesar said the medicinal industry must be properly regulated to fulfill this country's international commitments, and as such, the bill also provides for the creation of the Medical Cannabis Authority. As to the benefits to the traditional growers of marijuana, Minister Caesar said he recognized that they have toiled hard to earn a living, and the bill was crafted with their concerns in mind. He said special licenses are also available to them and highlighted the requirements.
Subpart 3H, Traditional Cultivators License, Clause 58(1). It reads, Mr. Speaker, pursuant to subsection 2, a traditional cultivator's license may be issued to a citizen who desires to cultivate medicinal cannabis on premises of up to 5 acres per traditional cultivator. The authority shall make a recommendation to the Cabinet for the issuance of traditional cultivator's license in the following circumstances. That is, where the applicant is a citizen who is a qualifying person for the purposes of the Cannabis Cultivation Amnesty Act, who has been granted amnesty under the Act and is entitled to the relief stipulated thereunder, and thereafter makes an application under these regulations for a traditional cultivator's license and satisfies the provisions herein and any guidelines issued pursuant to Regulation 55A.
The Agriculture Minister said security is an issue of concern for the traditional farmers and highlighted how the provisions will assist in this regard.
The authority shall, where the security measures are developed pursuant to Regulation 54E, cause also to be developed, where applicable, guidelines, importantly, for alternative security mechanisms to facilitate traditional cultivators in an effort to guarantee their effective access to the licensing scheme under these regulations. So we envisage, Mr. Speaker, that the issue of security is one that could be very onerous on traditional cultivators, and we are placing here in the bill alternative circumstances for security.
Caesar said the traditional farmers also stand to benefit from technical assistance.
It goes on to say, Mr. Speaker, the authority shall, through alliances with other local entities and in an effort to facilitate the licensing process, provide such technical assistance to traditional cultivators who seek to make an application for a traditional cultivator's license in accordance with these regulations. Again, addressing the issue of assistance. The authority shall also promote the development of medicinal cannabis projects with traditional cultivators who may request such assistance as a substitute mechanism for the growth of illicit cannabis, provided that such projects shall not be used to incorporate cannabis that was illegally cultivated prior to the commencement of this act, save and except in accordance with the provisions of the Cannabis Cultivation Amnesty Act. So here we see significant assistance to be provided for the traditional cultivators of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Meanwhile, several members of the Rastafarian community gathered outside Parliament today to express their views on the bill to create a medical marijuana industry in SVG. SVG-TV News team caught up with some of those who are in support of the bill.
My name is Robert Stephen. I'm from the North Leeward area. I am the PR of our group, and I am here representing the bill today because it's been long overdue. We have been in the mountains struggling for so long, hardly making anything, and everybody, the police are there harassing us, ill-treating us, maltreating us over this thing. So I think if you have something that you can, I would say, earn income as a daily living, it's very good. It's going to help develop the country, develop your self-esteem, your family, and I would say your surrounding in a whole. You know, I think it's a real good thing because I don't know, nothing now go on a Vinci for we, let me talk local parang, and I think this thing is gonna lift us, and it's time long overdue. I just pray to all God that this thing pass today, that could uplift ourselves out of the gutter, let me put it that way.
I come here to support this bill because it's a good bill.
There were also those who opposed the bill which was being discussed in Parliament today.
We don't want medicinal marijuana alone. Right? We want legalization and compensation. What about the hundreds of people who been kidnapped and sent to prison by the government? You understand? And charged and held for ransom. I'm in charge once at the big money. What they gonna do about them people in them there?
I just want to say one thing, just to free up the sacrament. No license for sacrament or bingy man what they have. Born anyway free. No license for sacrament. That is all I got to say.
The land belongs to us. So why should we be the workers? Why we can't be the owners? Why we must always be in this position where somebody always dictating to us about what is ours? Look at what happened to our banana. Look what happened to our arrowroot. Look what happened to all in Camden Park Industrial Estate. Because they were foreign based and owned. So when these people pack up and go, then they leave all of it stranded. What will happen whenever the marijuana medicinal industry decide to pack up and leave St. Vincent?
They didn't build the houses with medicinal marijuana. Recreational marijuana built almost all of the houses in Petit Bodel.
And still they was prosecuted.
Where is the reparatory justice? We are calling for reparatory justice from this administration. This government must apologize to Rastafari for the persecution. The number of Rastafari brethren who are trimmed, whose locks were cut off by successive governments. We need reparation.
Members of the ruling Unity Labour Party have re-elected Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, the leader who will lead the party into the 2020 general elections. The party's internal election took place at its 23rd annual convention held yesterday at the Camden Park Secondary School. As we hear in this report from Larissa Pugsley, hundreds of the party supporters came out to listen to their leader, who in his address outlined challenges, developments and plans in taking the party forward.
Leader of the ruling Unity Labour Party, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, arrived to cheers from a packed auditorium at the Camden Park School yesterday as he made his way to the stage. It was the 23rd convention of the party where Dr. Gonsalves addressed his supporters, boasting of an educational revolution, increase in pay, infrastructural development, agriculture, health care and tourism. Dr. Gonsalves noted that for a small country, SVG has done well to advance in development in almost every sector. He, however, said that there are many challenges they still face, especially in meeting the needs of all Vincentians, and asked that everyone work in unity.
You are required to redouble your efforts. And so to the candidates. And wherever we fall short, point it out, not just to quarrel or to complain, but for us to hold each other's hands to ensure that a victory in 2020 will be bigger, better and sweeter than any of the preceding ones.
Dr. Gonsalves added that SVG has to remain modern and competitive, which is what his government will continue to strive for. He, however, lashed out at the opposition New Democratic Party for what he said is the party's attempts to tarnish his reputation and that of his party, the ULP. It was at this point that Dr. Gonsalves mentioned an attempt made threatening his life.
The security forces came to me one day with an allied agency from overseas. Said that so-and-so was recruiting a Puerto Rican to kill you. And the person who was doing it was a man from the Dominican Republic. And the agency from overseas played a recording. And I heard the voice of the man from St. Vincent telling the man from the Dominican Republic, yes, I hear about that man from Puerto Rico. I hear he does do a clean job. I want him to do a clean job on Ralph.
Dr. Gonsalves further raised questions about the recent trip to China by some executive members of the NDP, which he said needed answers.
Some transparency in that. What did you fly? I know you didn't go economy. Tell us whether you went business class or first class. You gotta tell me that. Tell me how much each ticket costs and who pay for it. The people them in China pay for it, or the man them, including people in China who want to sell our passport and our citizenship. Is them pay for you go to China? Tell us.
Following the open forum, the closed-door session on Sunday afternoon included the internal election in which Dr. Gonsalves was re-elected as the ULP's political leader who will lead the party into the 2020 general elections. The three other executives were also re-elected. Reporting for SVG-TV News, I am Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
The national budget presentation will come at the end of January 2019. This was announced by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves at his ruling Unity Labour Party's 23rd convention on Sunday. Prime Minister Gonsalves said that members of Cabinet are in the process of preparing this year's estimates, which will be presented 1 week before the budget presentation on Tuesday, January 29th, 2019.
The Cabinet and all the departments, we will be working on finalizing the estimates of expenditure and revenue for the year 2019 and the budget, because we will go on the 23rd of January to present the estimates, and Camilo will present the budget on the 29th.
Meanwhile, party supporters who attended the convention told SVG-TV News they are pleased with the leadership of Prime Minister Gonsalves, who they say has done a great job so far in managing the affairs of the party and the country.
Very good, and the Prime Minister did well, and he outlined everything that we could learn from it and we could go by it, and then we have another term in 2020.
Well, to be honest, the Unity Labour Party has done real well for the 18 years that they are in power, especially the education revolution for the young people. And I want to say thank God for the Unity Labour Party. They have changed St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Better, we are better by far.
First of all, I'd said the Prime Minister just continued to be himself, very informative and very frank. And I am really glad that he spoke about us being on the Security Council. For me, that would be a big, big thing for our tiny little St. Vincent. And the man he exceeded my expectations, put it that way.
American Airlines is expected to make its inaugural non-stop flight from the Miami International Airport to the Argyle International Airport this Saturday, December 15th. The year-round 1427 service will operate an Airbus A319 every Saturday out of Miami International Airport. In a release, Chief Executive Officer of the SVG Tourism Authority, Glenn Beach, said the direct TAA service out of Miami to the AIA is a game changer for SVG, as it will give visitors and Vincentians another option to travel directly to and from the destination. Currently, Caribbean Airlines operates a weekly non-stop Wednesday service from JFK International in the USA, and Air Canada Rouge a weekly non-stop Thursday service from Pearson International, Canada. From Sunday, December 16th, Air Canada Rouge is expected to add a second weekly non-stop flight to the AIA, which will operate until April 2019. As SVG observes International Human Rights Day today, Public Relations Officer of the SVG Human Rights Association, Jeannie Oliver, said they will continue to lobby to have the death penalty abolished. She said one way of doing so is through an educational awareness drive in which they will be reaching out to persons in all sectors of society.
Focus in 2018-2019 is on educating Vincentians, reference the possibility of abolishing the death penalty. So we are focusing in 2018 and 2019 on educating Vincentians with a view to abolish the death penalty in collaboration with Marion House and the network of NGO.
Oliver said that even with some strides, human rights are still not being upheld, and the younger generation must be educated on these rights.
We must recognize that in order for all of us as Vincentians to be constantly aware of our basic human rights must be taught in our schools at a very early age, so that our youths not only are aware but practice human rights principles. That is, as a means of ensuring that we respect the dignity and worth of every single person that we come into contact with.
Oliver said one of the human rights violations that needs to be corrected is the imprisonment of juveniles. She said a separate holding facility should be built to house the juveniles.
Up until today, we do not have a facility. There is a facility, but it does not facilitate juveniles who are in conflict with the law. And we need to ensure that when juveniles are in conflict with the law, they are not housed with adults. I know that they are not housed with adults, but there needs to be a facility, a specialized facility that would house these juveniles, because they are committing the crimes because they are screaming for specific attention, whether it be love, a relationship with their parents, a relationship with a team of persons who would help them, who will bring them back to our norms and values as we acknowledge it in the Vincentian society.
The School Examinations Committee of the Caribbean Examination Council, CXC, will be introducing new subjects offerings such as biotechnology, design, artificial intelligence, and robotics in Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination CAPE in the new school year 2019, which will be written by students in 2020. This was agreed upon during the 50th meeting of CXC held here last week. The Governance Committee also agreed to continue work on the revision of 6 CAPE syllabuses, namely computer science, information technology, applied mathematics, pure mathematics, and art and design. In addition, CXC has also agreed to have digital literacy syllabus for the Caribbean Certificate of Secondary Level Competence Program, the CCSLC. Approval was also given to have 5 CSEC syllabuses revised. They are music, theater arts, economics, principles of accounts, and principles of business. The School's Examinations Committee also ratified a revision of the CXC Associate degree, as candidates will now have to complete 10 units instead of 8 to qualify for the CXC Associate degree. Registrar of CXC Glenroy Cumberbatch spoke of the many initiatives that have already been introduced, which he said have been successful thus far.
2018, we also expanded to allow students to bring their own devices. That has worked well for us. And in a way, it has been a savior for one of our territories, the Virgin Islands, who, because of the 3 devastations they had in 1 year, had no space or no proper housing to store their papers. And instead, they said, we want to do all electronic testing. And we're very proud to have been able to do that, and it went extremely well. That is what can happen. This year, we also launched for the first time our electronic certificates. All students received their paper-based certificates, but they also were given, some of them for whom we had email addresses, would have been sent electronic certificates.